Yuki was sitting on the beach reading a book as her best friend and brother came running up. They asked her to go swimming with them, but she refused. It was not because she didn't want to swim. The truth is, she was insecure. It bothered her a lot. How could she feel comfortable with herself when her best friend was the winner of their local beauty pageant? When she went home that evening, she stood in front of the mirror, judging herself. She told herself things like, "It's the shape of my ribs. If I could only change it somehow, I could look like her." The next day at school, she stood against the wall with a sad expression. One of her classmates came up to her and said something that sparked her interest. "If it really bothers you that much, Yuki, why don't you just get the surgery?" Apparently, as her classmate shared, there was a plastic surgeon who performed a rib removal surgery, and so Yuki was there the next day, ready for her consultation. The doctor sat in his office. His face showed no particular emotions, his eyes looking through his thin-frame glasses as he spoke with Yuki.
I have indeed performed several rib removals, but, and this goes for other surgeries as well, I have to assess your psychological state first.
He continued.
Some patients have trouble if the outcome of the surgery isn't what they hope for. That's why it's a necessary step in the procedure.
As she walked out, she questioned whether it was worth getting the surgery anymore. Then she spotted something in the distance. It was her best friend, crouching low to the ground, covering her ears. Her friend looked up at her. Her face looked worried, almost as if she was in pain. As Yuki could see drops of sweat running down her forehead, Yuki asked if she was okay. Her friend replied, "I want that music to stop. It's just awful." "What music?" asked Yuki. "I hear it when it gets quiet at night. Such an ugly sound. Listen carefully, Yuki. Just listen." That's when Yuki began to hear something. It sounded out of tune, metallic, as if someone was playing a harp, but they had replaced all the strings with rusty wire. It had a certain rhythm to it. The girls decided to follow the sound, and as they walked down the empty city streets, the sound grew closer, getting more unbearable with every step they took. The air carried a certain kind of stillness, which allowed the sound to penetrate deeper into their ears. Then they reached the city park, and there they saw it. A woman was sitting on a cold stone bench, playing what looked like a curved, moon-shaped piece with a few strings attached to it. She sensed them and slightly moved her head. Her lips were curved slightly and her eyes sunken. She got up from her seat and disappeared into the trees, leaving the strange instrument behind. The girls picked up the instrument and tried to play it, but it made no sound. How could it play if there's no hollow body for the sound to resonate in? But there was one more thing. The curved-shaped piece looked like it was made out of bone. "Probably some animal bone," Yuki explained, but it bore a strange resemblance to a rib. That's when her friend grabbed the instrument and broke it, throwing it into the bushes. A few days later, horrible news reached Yuki. Her best friend was dead. In the same city park, her body was found, and the newspapers reported she was unrecognizable. Nearly all her ribs were gone, almost as if they had been ripped out. Even so, Yuki was still obsessed with her own ribs, debating on the surgery as she remembered how beautiful her best friend looked. She couldn't help but go back to the doctor's office and went ahead with the surgery. As he prepared her, he shared an unnerving story. Before her, there were two others he had performed the surgery on. He explained that the second girl was the one they found dead in the park. Although unfortunate, her surgery was extremely successful. But it was not the same case for the first woman. According to the doctor, she was not psychologically stable and kept coming back for more and more of her ribs to be removed. Although ashamed to admit, the doctor shared that,
I obliged to each of her demands, and yes, I nearly took out all her ribs.
Suddenly, Yuki's eyelids felt heavy as she fell asleep as the doctor stood atop her, with only the sound of the bright buzzing lights and her heartbeat fading in the distance. After she recovered from the surgery, Yuki was no longer insecure, but there was one thing she couldn't shake. Just as her friend before her, every night since the surgery, she would hear the same awful sound. So one night, as she had done before, she went in search of the source. It led her to the same park, and there she was, the woman playing the instrument. It was different this time. worse than before, as Yuki could feel the sound resonating in her chest, making it hard to breathe. The woman threw away the instrument, and although she wasn't playing it anymore, Yuki could still hear it. The woman began to speak. "My chest is what makes the sound. When the doctor took my ribs out, he replaced them with wires. Whenever I breathe or move, the wires catch on each other and play a tune." The woman unbuttoned her blouse, and to Yuki's horror, her chest cavity was a mess of wires and ribs, too many to count. She told Yuki the doctor had done a horrible job implanting another girl's ribs into her, but he was gonna fix that. This time, the surgery would be successful. Yuki stared in horror as she saw the doctor approaching her from the darkness, this time again with a blank expression in his eyes. Though she tried to run, she could not escape, and all she heard was the horrible metallic sound with each breath the rib woman took.